Welcome back everyone to a brand new edition of the Best Solo Carries, where we provide you guys with 3 of the most powerful champions for every single role, this time for patch 14.3. Also, we're excited to announce we've done a massive update, adding all brand new courses for Season 14 on our website, SkillCapped.com. And if that's not enough, we upload 10 new Smurf commentaries every week where a challenger teaches you how to play every champion in the exact rank you're stuck in. The best part? You can try all this out completely risk-free. If you don't rank up while actively using SkillCapped, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to get the rank you've always wanted in Season 14. A newcomer on the solo carry list for top lane who saw a huge spike in power due to the 14.2 changes is Zac. With Riot adding more health in runes, it's absolutely perfect for Zac since he has so much health scaling built into his kit. Season 14 itemization is also so much nicer for a top lane tank like Zac because he's not bootstrapped into building Sunfire Aegis every game. Now that Hollow Radiance is in the game, which is the magic resist version of Sunfire, itemizing against AP top laners has never been better. With top lane Zac, it's all about the W max and whittling the enemy down with short trades. Unlike jungle Zac, you want to be maxing your W out first instead of E so that your dueling power is amplified for lane. Matchup wise for Zac, he's not losing to very much right now, but Mordekaiser is one champion worth a ban. The percent health damage Morda ends up building combined with his extended fight strength is more difficult for Zac to deal with. The build for Zac is highly dependent on your matchup and what the enemy comp consists of. However, Sunfire Aegis or Hollow Radiance are the best rush items, while Spirit Visage works amazing into AP comps, and Thornmail is great into heavy AD. Best rune page for Zac top lane is Grasp, with Demolish, Second Wind, and Revitalize. Pick up Tenacity and Last Stand for secondaries. Holding strong as one of the best solo carry top laners for yet another patch is Aatrox. With Trundle nerfed in 14.3 and Jax hit pretty hard in 14.2, Aatrox is set to take over as the #1 solo queue fighter. Aatrox has become super strong in Season 14 due to his immense synergy with Sundered Sky and Spear of Shojin. Just such a nasty 2-item core for the champion right now, and it gives you a very clear-cut win condition to play towards every game. There's even a new lethality build picking up traction that is performing super well and gives Aatrox even more versatility. Profane Hydra with Edge of Night is the 2-item core, and this one can work super well if you're against a comp with more squishy champions. In lane with Aatrox, it's all about taking short trades around his Q cooldown. Champions that can either dodge away from his Q or completely negate his Q damage are who Aatrox struggles more against, so in that case, Fiora is one of his better bans. Standard rune page you should be running is Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand, followed by Second Wind and Revitalize for secondaries. Riot has gone ahead and nerfed a ton of Riftmaker champions already, but one they've left untouched is Mordekaiser. Mord is such a great top lane pick right now, especially for Diamond and below. Playing around your R cooldown with Mordekaiser, being more aggro when it's up and more reserved when it's down, is a simple way to unlock results with the champ. The pressure that Mord can provide with his ultimate available is super nuts, because even if the enemy team sends multiple members to gank you, you're guaranteed to trade at least one kill back. The fact that you now have 3 optimal items for Season 14 that provide both health and damage is incredible for Mord. Being able to slot in Leandries has been such a huge win, and it makes his mid to late game absolutely devastating. The complete 3-item core you should be running is Rylai's with Riftmaker 2nd and Leandries 3rd. Fiora is always one of the better bans for Mordekaiser, as her W makes it quite difficult for you to ever use Mord E. The best rune page is Conqueror with Triumph, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Run Second Wind and Revitalize for secondaries. Bruiser Briar is back for 14.3, and she's kicking off the top 3 for jungle. With nerfs to OP champs like Brand and Lilia, Briar is next in line to really take over the jungle meta. Even though the Collector is being nerfed, Bruiser Briar builds have actually been winning more than lethality, so the change doesn't really affect her power. Titanic Hydra Rush into Sundered Sky 2nd is the build leading to great results right now. The damage procs from both Titanic and Sundered Sky provide Briar with a good amount of upfront burst while remaining very tanky due to all the health from the items. Champions with strong peel power are who Briar hates playing against the most, so using your ban on a meta support like Janna or Maokai is good value. When playing this Bruiser build, it's going to be Conqueror as the keystone rune with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Conditioning and Overgrowth for secondaries. So many jungle champions are either being directly nerfed or nerfed due to item changes in 14.3, but one champ who avoids any negative changes and will continue dominating is Nocturne. Noc is one of the best junglers for the lower elos right now because the way in which you approach each game is very similar. There's not a ton of variance with Nocturne, as his level 6 spike and experimental Hexplate spike are super powerful, and you should be playing towards them every game. Clearing your jungle efficiently is something that will really help you excel on Nocturne, and our new Season 14 course on the topic is a great resource to help you out. If you can prioritize Nocturne in games where your support locks a CC bot like Leona, Maokai, or Nautilus, it becomes easy pick'ems at level 6. You really want to be focusing whichever lane provides you with the best setup, as scoring a kill with every ult usage is key to snowballing on Nocturne. Avoiding meta champions with strong peel power is ideal to see the best results on Nocturne, so banning out Maokai or Janna is is a good idea. Core build you should be running in the majority of your games revolves around a Hexplate Rush into Eclipse 2nd and Axiom Arc 3rd. Lethal Tempo is the best Keystone rune with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace. Grab Eyeball Collection and Ultimate Hunter for secondaries. Another jungler who avoids any nerfs for this patch and will only rise up in priority is Bel'Veth. From testing the Kraken Slayer changes that Riot has had on the PvE, it even looks like Kraken Slayer will be more powerful earlier on in the game, giving Bel'Veth a stronger one-item spike. We're not 100% certain this change makes it to live servers though, so watch out for the patch notes to verify. Stridebreaker is also being changed this patch so that the damage on the active is coming back, so that you're going to have more damage overall coming out of Bel'Veth in 14.3. Kraken into Stridebreaker is the standard 2-item core, however your third purchase is dependent on the enemy comp. Into a comp with a ton of magic damage, Wit's End works amazing, otherwise Terminus is a great pickup. Bel'Veth has a lot of outplay potential in her kit due to the mobility from Q, so she doesn't like playing against champs with point and click damage, and in that case, Briar is a solid ban for the current meta. The best rune page for Bel'Veth is Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, followed by Freeboots and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. There are a bunch of mage items being buffed in 14.3, which is going to indirectly benefit Anivia immensely. Anivia has already been a pretty sleeper mid in recent patches, and now that Archangels and Rod of Ages are buffed, she should not be ignored. The new Season 14 map changes have actually been really positive for Anivia, as new terrain around Baron makes Anivia's zone control even more nuts. With Anivia, it's all about getting to Rod of Ages as quick as possible so that you can come online in the mid game. Taking Teleport as your secondary summoner spell really helps with this, as you should not be hesitant to use the spell if you drop low on health so that you can farm safely in lane. The standard core build that you should be running on Anivia is a Rod of Ages Rush into Archangel's 2nd and 3rd item is more situational. Champions with high mobility who can easily avoid your ultimate are who Anivia can struggle more against, so using your ban on Kassadin is good value. As for the rune page, it's Electrocute with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter for primaries, grab Presence of Mind and Coup de Grace for secondaries. Fresh off some huge buffs from 14.2, Twisted Fate is making his first appearance on the mid lane solo carry list in a long time. The scaling strength of TF is absolutely insane now. With the AD ratio being added to his Q, building Fire Cannon is way more valuable now. More damage to turrets, and being able to use W on inhibitors and the Nexus makes TF's backdoor and general pushing power completely insane. As a result of these buffs, Twisted Fate is just the perfect solo queue champion right now, as his map impact and catch power is so influential. Remember, Rod of Ages is even being buffed for 14.3, so TF literally becomes even more insane. The optimal core build for the champion is a Rod of Ages Rush into Lichbane 2nd and Rapid Fire Cannon 3rd. There's honestly a ton of viable rune options for TF right now, but you can't go wrong with First Strike. Champions that can take advantage of both the Rod of Ages and Archangel's buffs are going to be loving 14.3, and Cassiopeia is one of them. Cass has been a pretty high win rate mid in recent patches, so these buffs should help her to draw a lot more attention towards her. Cassio fares quite well in this current meta because we're seeing a lot more shorter range champions being played. Orianna and Syndra meta that we saw at the end of Season 13 is completely gone now, with both champs being quite weak, so that's great for Cass. Twisted Fate with his point-and-click gold card can be more difficult for Cass to play around, and because the champ is super meta right now, it's a good ban to consider. The core build for Cassio revolves around a Rod of Ages Rush into Archangel 2nd and Rylai's 3rd. You want Conqueror for the Keystone rune with Presence of Mind, Tenacity, and Last Stand. Run Mana Flow and Transcendence for secondaries. On-hit ADCs are buffed in 14.3 due to the Rage Blade changes, and with Vayne already being a pretty great pick in recent patches, she'll take an added step forward. Lots of ADCs are being indirectly nerfed this patch as well, with the Collector having its AD reduced, so it's another factor in Vayne's rise. Reach 2 items on Vayne and you can really begin taking over games, so banning out a strong early game ADC like Draven who can halt that game plan is a good idea. After building Blade of the Ruined King and Rage Blade, 3rd item is situational, as Terminus and Wit's End are both viable options. There's also a bursty build going around for Vayne right now that is even partially buffed for 14.3. Just so many changes going in Vayne's favor for this patch, as Essence Reaver is seeing its AD increased. Stormrazor is seeing its scaling energized damage reduced, but with the ER buffs, everything should turn out relatively neutral. A build of Stormrazor into Essence Reaver and Voltaic Cyclo Sword works really good if you're against a comp that lacks health stackers. If you're playing this more bursty build, grabbing Fleet Footwork for the Keystone rune is going to suit you very well. However, if you're playing on hit Vayne, you definitely want to be taking Lethal Tempo. With so many of the meta ADCs indirectly nerfed this patch, all the more reason to start prioritizing Jinx. Jinx has been hanging around as a middle of the pack ADC in recent patches, but she should see a nice indirect spike becoming the best crit ADC for solo queue. So much of Jinx's strength for solo queue comes from her ability to clean up team fights incredibly well. Those Clown Fiesta skirmishes are where Jinx can really thrive, as all she needs is one passive proc to really begin taking over. The follow-up you have with E and W is really nice when paired with an engaged support and gives Jinx superb chain CC potential in lane. We're seeing much less of Soraka, Sona, Yuumi, and Seraphine in the support meta right now, and much much more of Maokai, Karma, Zyra, and Bard, who all provide way better setup for Jinx to snowball off of. Super hard engage is what can be more difficult for Jinx to play into since she lacks a gap closer, so banning out a meta champ like Nocturne is good value. Core build for Jinx consists of a Kraken Slayer rush into Infinity Edge second and Rapid Fire Cannon third, roll with Lethal Tempo for the Keystone rune, followed by Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Cut Down. Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm are the way to go for secondaries. Despite the nerfs to Ghostblade and the Collector in 14.3, we've got Miss Fortune rounding out the top 3 for ADC. MF has just been a cut above all else in previous patches, so even with the nerfs, we expect her to remain very strong. You have to take into account that many other champs are being nerfed due to the Collector changes as well, so the relative power of MF won't be dropping all that much. Hubris is also a completely viable alternative to the Collector that has even been outperforming in 14.2, so Miss Fortune can just swap items around and be perfectly fine. A core build that you should be looking into trying for 14.3 consists of her Ghostblade rush into Hubris second and Edge of Night third. If you guys are looking to play Miss Fortune in 14.3, our challenger player Hector has a new full game commentary for the champion on our website that can help you out. Similar to Jinx, MF's main weakness later in the game is the fact she can't instantly reposition against dive champs without flash available, so banning out a meta champ like Nocturne who can just point and click dive on you is a good idea. Miss Fortune's rune page consists of First Strike with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm for secondaries. Kicking off the top 3 for support this patch, and hands down the most broken enchanter for solo queue, is Janna. Despite Janna being an enchanter, the Season 14 meta build on her has her running the Realm Spike support upgrade combined with an Imperial Mandate rush. The Realm Spike with Mandate setup actually gives Janna a considerable amount of damage from her W, and it's the spell you should be maxing out first. It's actually kind of disgusting how much more Janna players win when they max W first instead of E, as it's 56% versus 51%. If you've been playing the more passive style of Janna, where you max E and take the Dreammaker support upgrade, definitely look to give this more aggressive style of Janna a go. Mandate Rush into Shirellia second is a great 2-item core for Janna in 14.3. Janna does really well into melee champs that need to dive in to be effective, but she's less reliable into comps that can pick her off from long range, so Bard is a pretty good ban option for the current meta. Comet as the Keystone rune works great with this W max Janna, as it provides you with more kill threat when your jungle is ganking or you're looking for an all-in play. Taking home the second solo carry slot for support in 14.3 is going to be Bard. Bard's build does become a tad weaker this patch due to the Kaenic Rooker nerfs, but he's really not super reliant on the item in order to succeed. The core of Trailblazer and Locket is 100% viable on Bard right now. It's just that Frozen Heart with Rookern was way overtuned, and now it's being brought back down to earth. The really nice part about running Frozen Heart with Kaenic Rookern is that you can be so aggressive without needing to worry about dying instantly if you get hit by CC. Even if the enemy lands some chain CC on you, oftentimes you'll live long enough to just E away, which makes the build a lot more forgiving for the average player. The Bloodsong support upgrade is super strong on Bard right now, and if you're someone who's been running Solstice Slay, definitely give Bloodsong a try. Your catch power is heavily amplified when you take Bloodsong, since the added damage output really allows you to melt those targets that you pick off. Bard loves playing against more immobile champions, as it makes landing his R much easier, so using your ban on a meta ADC like Ezreal, who has a gap closer and is more difficult to pick off, is a good idea. For the rune page on Bard, you can run Guardian or Fleet Footwork depending on the game. If you're laning against a very aggro duo like Lucian Braun or Draven Nautilus, running Guardian will help you survive against the all-in threat. On the flip side, if you're against a more pokey or passive lane like Ezreal Janna, taking Fleet makes a lot more sense. There are a ton of changes being issued to Maokai for this patch, however, we don't see them being enough to drastically lower his solo carry power. There's just no other support in the game who can match the same kind of consistent skirmish strength that Maokai brings to the table. Most other hard engaged supports have some sort of skill shot in their kit where skill expression is needed, but you can literally be first timing Maokai support and be super impactful. With junglers spending more time focusing bot lane in Season 14, the value of a Maokai Flash W has never been better. Setting up ganks and executing dive plays is so easy with Maokai, as there's basically no way you can mess it up. Even when you get level 6, using R from the Fog of War so that the enemy team doesn't see it coming, rooting them with R, and then following with W is so foolproof, but will lead to a kill almost every single time. The only thing Maokai really struggles against is strong disengage, so using your ban on a meta support like Janna is good value. Standard core build for the champion is a Trailblazer Rush into Locket second, and you should be running Solstice Slay for your support item upgrade. For the rune page, it's Aftershock with Font of Life, Bone Plating, and Unflinching, followed by Biscuits and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. If you truly want to improve and rank up fast, head on over to SkillCapped.com. We just finished a massive update adding all brand new courses for Season 14. 14. We even upload 10 new Smurf commentaries each week where a challenger teaches you how to play every champion in the exact rank you're stuck in. And remember, you can try all this out risk-free. If you don't rank up while actively using SkillCapped, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to get the rank you've always wanted this season. So there you have it, guys, a complete update on the best solo carries as we kick off patch 14.3. Thank you all so much for watching, good luck with your rank climbs, and we'll see you in the next one.